the time to find you that perfect someone.
Another invite. Oh, and here's the dress.
eHarmony.com.
Stop waiting. Start communicating for free today.
Bring in your Verizon or AT&T bill, turn in your old phone, and we'll cut your rate plan in half. Visit us online or visit a Sprint store today.
So I remember my GPA from college, and I know my IQ.
Okay.
And I know what blood type I have.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know my credit score.
You don't know your credit score?
I don't know my credit score.
That's really important. I mean,
I don't know my
Don't you want to buy a house, like, ever? You should probably check out Credit Karma. It's free.
Credit Karma. Free.
Free.
That's how much?
That's how much it's free.
Credit Karma. Really free credit scores. No credit card needed.
Dave's All New with Louis C.K. Monday and Tuesday, Colts quarterback Andrew Luck.
December 5th, 2014. Alex Tickleman is in court for a pretrial hearing. Charged with drug possession, prostitution, and manslaughter in the death of Forrest Hayes, months in jail have not been kind to the woman whose past modeling life is now nothing more than a distant memory.
Alex is doing great. She's doing as good as she can do under these circumstances.
Tickleman's public defenders, Jerry Christensen and Larry Bigham, contend their client is not a cold-blooded killer.
Alex Tickleman did nothing that Mr. Hayes did not want her to do. Two adults engaged in mutual and cooperative drug usage, and it went wrong, but it was an accident.
Tickleman's parents regularly visit their daughter in jail. She's been unable to meet a $1.5 million bond.
All rise.
For the defense team, honing in on Forrest Hayes' past may be the key for them to prove Tickleman is not guilty of manslaughter.
We know who Alex Tickleman is. Who is Forrest Hayes? And why was he there? And that's interesting, and that's what we're trying to find out. Who he is and what his habits are, his customs, his behaviors, his compulsions, his cravings. That matters.
Specifically, to reveal any past encounters on board that yacht. To that end, Tickleman's lawyers are forcing prosecutors to hand over hours of video from the escape's cameras, as far back as 6 months before Hayes died.
We have some indications from other material that there may have been previous encounters on the boat. It would be highly relevant in regard to whether or not there is drug usage along with sex.
It's not just the video. Tickleman's attorneys believe the tech exec's 6 computers and records from his 5 cell phones may have valuable information.
So my tender is to grant this motion.
A judge agreed and ordered the state to give it all to the defense before trial.
This is what defense does when they can't explain the actions of their client, is they put the victim on trial. And Mr. Hayes is not on trial here. Alex Tickleman is on trial.
In the court of public opinion, so much more is known about Alex Tickleman than Forrest Hayes that it has made covering this case quite a challenge.
It is concerning that his friends and family have not been forthright. It would be great to know more about him and who he was. I mean, he's a complicated person.
If Forrest Hayes was hiding any other secrets, they could come out during Alex's trial. Attorneys for both sides are expected to show excerpts from that dramatic video that captured the very last moments of one man's double life.
I think it's important to see how cold she was and how indifferent she was to him dying as she's walking around the cabin of that boat. I think that that will have an impact on any juror. They'll see that, and I think that they'll be shocked.
But defense lawyers say Hayes was an eager participant, even using his own cell phone light to show Alex where to inject him. And they are adamant she then simply panicked.
Everything about this video indicates accident and panic. Everything about it.
Understandably, Alex's former boyfriend, Chad Cornell, has mixed emotions about the case.
How are you going to feel if she walks away and she's free?
I think partially I'll feel relieved if she's found innocent. Maybe she's a terrible enough person to cheat on me, to, you know, be a prostitute, be a heroin addict, but actually kill people intentionally, or to let somebody die in front of her. I would personally like to believe that she's innocent of that.
Michael Daly believes Alex is a lost soul, ravaged by drug addiction. It's a sentiment Alex herself seemed to agree with in this poem she wrote about heroin 1 year before Forrest Hayes died.
This private downward spiral, this suffocating black hole, makes you feel so warm inside, yet makes your heart so cold. Each day takes its toll. Your thoughts become emotionless. Your soul feels too old.
How would you vote if you were on the jury? Chat now with correspondent Maureen Maher on Twitter.
If you have $80,000 to throw around, you can absolutely find someone in Los Angeles County to kill your wife. Monica Olson used to be a model, and she ran her own skincare company. Dino Guglielmelli was a successful businessman. They had 2 really beautiful children. He was the lead singer of a rock band. This story is definitely ripe for a made-for-TV movie where you have the ex-model turned housewife with a millionaire husband who is cheating on his wife and tries to hire a hitman because he's not winning his divorce.
He wanted her dead. He didn't care how it was done. Beat her up, cut her head off, put her in a ditch. My name is Richard Furman, and Dino Guglielmelli hired me to murder his wife.
Live from WIAT 42 News with coverage you can count on. Here's what's happening right now.
5 people are dead tonight after a horrific wreck in Chilton County. Good evening, I'm Natalie T Sat. Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. The accident happened this afternoon along Highway 22. WIAT 42 News reporter Nick Goulas has been covering this accident since it broke. He joins us live in the studio with more.
Natalie, state troopers and the Alabama Department of Transportation had State Highway 22 blocked for 5 hours this afternoon. The Alabama Law Enforcement Agency got a call around 1:30 this afternoon of a wreck along Highway 22 East, just past Chilton County Road 516. When troopers arrived on the scene, they found a pickup truck on fire after colliding head-on with an SUV. Troopers tell us the truck was trying to pass another vehicle and didn't see the oncoming SUV. The accident occurred along a stretch of road with a double yellow line in the median. All 4 passengers in the truck and the driver of the SUV at the scene died of the crash.
At this time, we're working with the coroner's office to make identification, and once we get the identification made with the details and the next of kin's notified, we'll put out a press release.
Highway 22 was blocked at Chilton County Road 559 to allow Verbena Fire, Clanton Police, and the troopers to clean up the accident. As you heard from Corporal Thornton there, more information about the wreck will be available once the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency completes their investigation. Live in the studio, Nick Goulas, WIAT 42 News, coverage you can count on.
And of course, we'll have more information as well online at WIAT.com. Alabama has become the latest in a string of wins for the South for advocates of gay marriage rights. In a late decision Friday, a federal court judge ruled our state's laws prohibiting same-sex marriage were unconstitutional. In her ruling yesterday, federal district judge Jenny Grenade said our state's ban on same-sex marriage went against the 14th Amendment in the U.S. Constitution. She said the state does not ban marriage for couples who are infertile, elderly, elderly or want to remain childless, and she said children of gay couples are equally deserving of protection under the law. The decision stems from a lawsuit filed by two Mobile women. Carrie Searcy and Kimberly McKeon were married legally in California and have been together for 15 years. But the issue of their rights as a couple came about after Searcy's petition to adopt McKeon's 9-year-old son was denied. They plan to refile adoption paperwork on Monday.
Today makes me very proud to be an Alabamian. You know, our case has been going on for 8 years, and now today, finally, we are no longer strangers, and I can now legally adopt my son.
In Alabama, we have suffered much discrimination, and I just rejoice tonight for all the loving couples who made a decision to make a life commitment to each other, that finally their marriages are recognized.
And again, that was Representative Patricia Todd. Alabama Attorney General Luther Strange has already begun to fight the judge's ruling. His office sent out a statement yesterday. It says, quote, "We are disappointed and are reviewing the federal district court's decision. We expect to ask for a stay of the court's judgment pending the outcome of the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling, which will ultimately decide this case." Strange has already filed that stay request. No word yet if it has been accepted. Governor Bentley is not pleased with the judge's decision either. His office weighed in via a statement sent shortly after the decision was announced. It says, quote, "The people of Alabama voted in a constitutional amendment to define marriage between a man and a woman. The governor is disappointed with the ruling, and we will review the decision to decide on the next steps." There are two laws that ban same-sex marriage in Alabama: a state statute and a constitutional amendment called the Alabama Sanctity of Marriage Amendment that was approved back in 2006. The issue of allowing same-sex marriage has been a key issue during President Obama's 2 terms. In 2012, he publicly announced his support for the nationwide legalization of same-sex marriage. He even mentioned it in the current debate over legalization during last week's State of the Union address.
I've seen something like gay marriage go from a wedge issue used to drive us apart to a story of freedom across our country, a civil right now legal in states that 7 in 10 Americans call home.
If Friday's ruling is upheld, Alabama will become the 37th state to authorize same-sex marriage. The District of Columbia brings the total to 38 locations. The federal government already recognizes same-sex marriages. Court orders overturning bans in Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, South Dakota, and Texas have all been placed on hold. This story, of course, will definitely develop as the legal process continues. You can continue to go to our website, WIAT.com, for a look at our coverage and for continuous updates.
Well, that sun came out again today and it felt phenomenal outside. However, it is chilly if you stepped outside tonight. Here's a look at your forecast for the next 24 hours here. 36 degrees at 11, clear skies until 6 a.m. Waking up, heading into church, looks good. 43 degrees. It will be a little bit chilly. You'll need a light jacket, but you're going to like the forecast for the rest of the day, at least for the next 6 to 7 hours after 9 o'clock. 34 degrees in Birmingham at this hour. Chilly. 32 down in Jasper, 35 in Tuscaloosa. A live shot from our BJCC camera. It is 34 degrees in Birmingham. The winds are calm. We do have a little bit of rain that we could talk about for tomorrow. I'll explain when and where coming up.
7 elementary school students rushed to Children's of Alabama Friday afternoon are all at home recovering tonight. They were hurt when their school bus overturned in Pinson. It's the second crash in 2 days for our state. 52 children from Johnson Elementary School were on board the bus when it flipped while traveling along Rudd School Road. The uninjured students were taken to Rudd Middle School to wait for their parents. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says the bus pulled off to the side of the road and the wet ground caused the bus to slide off into the ditch. And just a day earlier, several students were injured after a similar crash in Clanton. Witnesses, police, and firefighters were able to pick up the bus to free trapped students. They also pulled some of them out of emergency hatches and even out of the front windshield. Students were taken to either Shelby Baptist Medical Center in Alabaster or Children's of Alabama in Birmingham. Anniston police are investigating a stabbing that left one person dead. Officers received a call around 2:30 this morning at a business on the 3100 block of West 12th Street. They found a man with several stab wounds lying on the ground beside the building. His name has not yet been released, but police were asking anyone with information on this case to call the Anniston Police Investigative Division at 256-240-4000. Now that that the excitement has died down over Birmingham scoring the 2021 World Games, the next question on many people's mind is, can the Magic City really pull this event off? Well, the answer may be yes, especially if you ask the CEO of Bruno Event Team, Gene Hallman. Hallman says the first step is finding corporate sponsors to help raise $75 million, which is needed for the World Games. He predicts many large companies will want to sponsor this event.
I'm very confident that there is the ability to cover all the expenses of these games and in turn provide a huge economic benefit to our retail sector of our economy.
But just because the sponsors are there doesn't mean the work is done for Birmingham. Hallman also says a lot of work is needed to make sure the city and its sporting venues are ready for the 2021 games. But that's something Birmingham Mayor William Bell is pretty confident about.
We're going to make sure we put our best foot forward with all of our facilities, and Legion Field is no exception. We're going to make sure that the venues that we have are presentable for the world stage, and that when they come and leave, they will have a great, favorable impression of Birmingham.
Mayor Bell tells WIAT 42 News that the planning process began the day the International World Games Association made the announcement. Mayor Bell says an official agreement will be signed in April. WIAT 42 News will be following all the developments surrounding the World Games from start to finish. You can follow all of our stories by going to our website at